We sat down to watch the first season, and we just couldn't do it. We just looked at each other, and Leisha's like perspiring. I'm spiking a fever, and I was like, Leisha can't do it. And she's like, I can't either, just turn it off.
Thank you for flying with us, Miss McCutcheon.
What?
You two seem cozy.
I didn't say anything.
The L Word Generation Q comes 15 years after The L Word premiered, and Showtime has already renewed the series for a second season. In the studio with me now is star Kate Moennig. Kate, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And congratulations on the second season.
Thank you so much.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what was it about this show that made you want to come back into this world, come back to this role?
Selfishly, I just wanted to work with my friends again.
Yeah. Field trip. Let's go. You got your juice box?
This is very hip.
Is it?
When we discussed it initially, reboots weren't really a thing. No one knew what they were.
Yeah.
And so it took a few years to figure out what that looks like. The time was right in 2017 when Showtime announced that they were interested in bringing it back, and it took a good 2 years to be where we are now.
There's a guy moving in next door.
Hi.
I'm Finley. I don't live here. You know what? I'll come down.
Go talk to him.
I don't think I can do that. He seems straight anyway.
Mike, he's gay. I asked.
And you mentioned working with your friends again, Leisha and Jennifer. They're back, but you have a whole new cast of characters as well. What's that been like, bringing them into the fold?
Oh, they're the sweetest people, and you know, they showed up excited, ready to work, and we had told them, you know, the fans of this show, they have a lot of opinions, and they're very smart. So, you know, just bear that in mind. It's not, nothing's guaranteed. Be mindful of that, and they're great.
She's inspiring. She inspires me every day.
I think we have a real opportunity to make an impact. Yeah, no, we don't do that here. No, get it away. We don't do that.
It seems like, you know, 15 years ago, we didn't have as rich of a language to talk about identity. So what's the biggest difference telling these stories in 2019, 2020 versus 15 years ago?
Wow. Well, it's what you just said. It's we didn't have the vocabulary, we didn't have the knowledge, and not everything is like the special unicorn anymore. You know, everything is much more accepted and it's universal, and you know, that can only get better as time goes on.
Yeah. When the L Word came out, it was revolutionary because it showed members of the LGBT community just living their lives. What was that like when you first filmed that show?
We were very fortunate because we shot the original show in Vancouver. So we never were in LA, and there wasn't social media, so there weren't people coming to sets, taking a picture, and then, you know, dumping it online somewhere. And we were really in our Canadian bubble, away from everything. So it never affected us in that way. We were just excited to work together, and we worked really hard on the show, and we always had the show's best intentions at heart, and that's what created such a family unit, was being in Canada for 6 months out of the year, relying solely on one another for entertainment.
The last season, though, of that show, I appreciate that the cast has been very candid about the problems of it. What do you remember from filming it?
It was confusing. We didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. And the creators have acknowledged that. I mean, the writers have acknowledged that it was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I love Eileen Chaikin. She owns it, and I respect that. I respect anyone who owns it. But at that time, no one really knew what was going on, and I remember they were keeping it very quiet from us as how it would finish up, and by the time we got to the end, all of us were just confused, because this show was about, you know, friendship and love, and then it, you know, delved into this whole other death storyline or whatnot, and that's just what happened. But it's hard to make TV shows. It's hard to have them run for many, many years. It's tough. That's not an easy thing to do, and I think that was 6 seasons in total. That's a lot of TV.
That is a lot, and
that's a lot of
time.
TV.
Yeah. Generation Q. What was that first day on set like?
That was wild. It was my first day was with Leisha and Jennifer.
Okay.
We were shooting a scene in a cafe.
Missed you. I believe I missed you more. I missed you more.
It's not a contest.
It is, and I'm gonna win.
We were actually in LA on location.
Is this the one where they're actually reuniting and they're having their first brunch?
Yes, that was the first scene that we shot, that we all shot together. And we were taking a quick walk over to set, and we just couldn't believe it. And then we sat down, and you know, we had seen the script a few months ahead of time. We had worked on it. We worked through the scene a few times to tighten it up, and all that overthinking and preparation. And then they yelled action, and you're just, you know, looking at Jennifer, and Jennifer's doing her Bet thing, and you look at Leisha, and she's doing her Alice thing, and I'm like, I guess I'll do the Shane thing, and here we go. And it was like no time had been missed.
That must be really special.
Yeah, it was great. It was actually stronger now
And like
than
not every
before.
actor gets that, to have like the original core group.
Yes, exactly.
That's really special.
Yeah.
Shane has always been kind of a heartthrob. Is that who she is to you?
No.
No. She's just got that vibe.
Yeah, she's got some.
cool.
Yeah, she does. She has some swag. That's for sure.
Tess. Shane. Yeah, girl, I know who you are. Everyone in the city knows who you are. You're like a living legend.
I heard 3 voices coming from your room last night.
The way I always approached her was more of, how do you always downplay that? Because someone who has it doesn't need to show it off. Finding that balance, because it's effortless with her, and I think that's what people like.
Do you think you're that cool in real life?
No. Not
I
at all.
think you are.
No.
But you wouldn't say it because cool people.
We
don't
just
actually say
met.
they're cool.
We just met.
How have you seen her evolve, especially in Generation Q?
That's a good question, and that's something that I was very conscious of. And when we were starting off with the show, coming up with ideas a couple years ago,
Yeah.
Leisha was very, very clear. She said, I believe Alice would have a talk show. And Jennifer was very clear, and she said, I believe Bet would run for office.
I will be the first lesbian mayor of Los Angeles.
And they'd say, well, what about you? Shane. And I didn't know, because Shane really is that kind of character that could be anywhere, and you could justify it somehow.
Yeah.
You know, like the imagination can go in any direction with her.
Do you ever, on a nostalgia trip, watch the original show?
No.
Never.
Leisha and I tried back in
You did?
Well, in 2017
Okay.
when Showtime said, hey, we're interested in bringing this back.
Was this like, okay, you're gonna come over to my house?
It was
We're
bad,
gonna-
yeah. So Leisha said, do you want to give this a shot? Do you want to try to watch it? And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. So I went over to Leisha's, and we sat down to watch the first season, and we just couldn't do it. We just looked at each other, and Leisha's like perspiring. I'm spiking a fever, and I was like, Leisha can't do it. And she's like, I can't either, just turn it off.
Well, Generation Q is such a delight and so
Good, thank you.
entertaining, and I think such an interesting evolution of the L word. So
Right.
good on you all. And
Thank you.
congrats on the
Thank you so
second
much.
season.
Appreciate it.
Nice to see you back as
Thank you,
Shane.
thank you.
And you can watch the L word Generation Q on Showtime.